Leadership theories. Types of leadership theories. The contingency theory, transactional leadership theory, transformational leadership theory, leader-member exchange theory, servant leadership theory.
The connected idea is called the contingency theory of leadership. Whereas the situational leadership approach assumes that the situation is static and the leader should adapt to it, the contingency theory assumes that the leader's default style is also pretty much fixed. Maybe he's more task-oriented than people-oriented. So the trick is to fit the right leader to the situation. Bottom line, effective leadership is contingent on matching the leader's style to the setting. In the coaching example, it would mean to find and install the right coach, rather than hoping the current coach will adapt his or her style to the situation. Transactional leadership and transformational leadership are two theories that we can consider together. As the term implies, transactional leadership means that there's a reciprocity of behavior between the leader and the follower. People will follow based on the incentives in place. So the leader's job is to find the right mix of rewards and punishments, and then closely monitor what's going on. The theory of transformational leadership, by contrast, says that leaders gain buy-in and commitment not so much from the quid pro quo approach as they do from encouraging their followers, caring for them, inspiring them toward a vision. In short, they get results by proactively transforming the environment and the relationships, cultivating followership, rather than paying for it or punishing noncompliance like the transactional leader does. Leader-member exchange theory is a bit like transactional theory because it suggests that leadership is basically about a fair exchange between the leader and the led. But it goes further to say that the exchange creates an in-group and an out-group with respect to the leader. And that, in turn, affects people's performance and willingness to stick around. In a way, it's just like being back in high school. There was the in crowd, and then there were the rest of us, and that can have some dysfunctional consequences. So the theory suggests that leaders may want to address their tendency to alienate people. And then there's servant leadership theory, which is kind of a blend between transformational and transactional leadership. Boiled down to its essentials, it says that if a leader makes a priority of identifying and meeting followers' needs, serving rather than being served, that leader creates an environment of trust and cooperation and reciprocal service, and ultimately higher performance. It's been popularized in recent decades by many researchers, but it goes back a lot further than that. Much of Jesus' influence, for example, was and still is a result of compassion and service and sacrifice. People follow out of love and gratitude rather than out of compulsion or fear.
Contingency theory focuses on factors connected to environment which might determine the leadership style that would be most appropriate for a particular situation. Various factors include the leadership style, followers, and the situation. Contingency leadership theory undertakes that leadership characteristics are significantly dependent on contextual factors. The contingency theories of leadership express the need for the leader to adjust the behavior based on a rational understanding of the situation and assume a leadership style that is appropriate for the occasion. This way of conceived leadership expels the dogma that there are better and worse leadership styles, and there is no one-size-fits-all approach to leadership, depending on the situation that varies the way of leaders' behavior. Situational example. Consider a school head named Mr. Y. Mr. Y finds it much easier to communicate in writing rather than in person, so he usually encourages his team by sending them thoughtful emails at the end of every week. However, there is a new employee in the office who is not very receptive to written communication. To connect with this employee, Mr. Y will need to either make an effort to change his method and encourage this employee in person, or he will have to assign this task to the assistant school head. In this example, Mr. Y is not a chronically ineffective leader. He is a good leader who is facing an unexpected challenge. If Mr. Y accepts the fact that he will need to adapt to his situation instead of trying to force his usual methods, he can still be a highly productive leader who encourages his team effectively. According to Avoglio, Walombo, and Weber in 2009, transactional leadership is largely based on the exchange of rewards contingent on performance. Transactional leadership focuses on the leader-follower relationship. The transactional leadership theory is based on the behavioral belief systems that both positive and negative reinforcements work for the benefit of an organization. Leaders who follow the transactional leadership theory believe that the chain of command or hierarchy works best to be able to motivate workers and enhance their productivity. By following the transactional leadership theory, they follow strict rules and commands and expect their subordinates to do the same. Among many other things, discipline is key to transactional leadership. Transactional leadership is extremely effective in motivating followers to achieve goals. However, it has been questioned as an effective way to motivate followers beyond the initial goals set for them. Additionally, transactional leadership does not consider external or situational issues but focuses on leader-follower relationships. This is a necessary but insufficient set of actions for shaping contemporary higher education. Example: Steve Jobs was a good example of what transactional leadership looks like in the workplace. Jobs was heavily involved with product development, marketing, and corporate outreach efforts with Apple. He would visit product teams to ask them questions about the work that was being done. He wouldn't stop until everyone understood what his expectations were and that they could be met. Transformational leadership. Transformational leadership comprising characteristics of idealized influence, individualized consideration, intellectual stimulation, and inspirational motivation has been found to have implications for higher leadership effectiveness in new market environments and production locations. To demonstrate the role of transformational leadership in organizational innovation, it can be argued that these leaders facilitate the generation of new knowledge and ideas through applying intellectual stimulation aspect that motivates employees to approach organizational problems in a more novel approach. Various empirical studies highlighted transformational leadership as an enabler of innovation. Transformational leadership is that which facilitates a redefinition of a people's mission and vision, a renewal of their commitment, and the restructuring of their systems for goal accomplishment. It is a relationship of mutual stimulation and elevation that converts followers into leaders and may convert leaders into moral agents. Hence, transformational leadership must be grounded in moral foundations. Transformational leadership fosters capacity development and brings higher levels of personal commitment amongst followers to organizational objectives. According to Bass in 1990, transformational leadership occurs when leaders broaden and elevate the interests of their employees, when they generate awareness and acceptance of the purposes and mission of the group, and when they steer employees to look beyond their own self-interest for the good of the group. Together, heightened capacity and commitment are held to lead to additional effort and greater productivity. Example: Mrs. Cruz is preparing for a meeting she has with a new group of teachers in her school. She schedules a time to meet with each individual teacher. After meeting with each teacher, she pairs each of them with a veteran teacher to help navigate them through the school. A few of the veteran teachers complained about the extra responsibility of running behind the new teachers. Mrs. Cruz acknowledged their complaints and offered an early release day in which the teachers could choose a day to leave early and their class would be covered. Leader-member exchange model. Leader-member exchange, or LMX theory, is a relationship-based dyadic theory of leadership. According to this theory, leadership resides in the quality of the exchange relationship developed between leaders and their followers. High-quality exchanges are characterized by trust, liking, and mutual respect, and the nature of the relationship quality has implications for job-related well-being and effectiveness of employees. Example: Tom is a 27-year-old master teacher in a school and has 15 teachers that work under his supervision. Tom has worked at the school for the last 4 years and was recently promoted to master teacher and has 10 close friends that have also worked at the school for multiple years. There is a group of 5 teachers who were just hired for the school year, and they are much older than Tom and the other young teachers. Most of the employees have noticed that only the young group of teachers go out to the restaurant near the school after work or participate in other non-work related events, while the new group of older teachers do not participate in any non-work activities and simply do the jobs they are asked to perform, but nothing more. Leader-member exchange theory can be applied to this situation in that this theory specifically examines the interactions between different followers and their leader. LMX theory explains that in any group or organization, there are in-group members and out-group members. In-group members work well with the leader, have a personality that fits with the leaders, and are often willing to take on extra tasks or responsibilities. Out-group members are less compatible with the leader. They may hold dissenting opinions, have clashing personalities, or be less willing to take on extra assignments. Not surprisingly, in-group members are more likely to earn promotions. Out-group members are more likely to leave. Servant leadership theory. The origin of servant leadership concept was constructed by the first conceptualized observant leadership by Robert Greenleaf and the historical figures of Jesus Christ. Robert Greenleaf put the phenomenal definition of leadership by servant leadership through serves first, not lead. Furthermore, servant leaders seek to transform their followers to and co grow healthier, wiser, freer, more autonomous, and more likely themselves to become servants. By this explanation, Robert Greenleaf has not been developing the set of characteristics of servant leadership. However, he pointed out the most important term of servant leadership: serve first, then aspire to lead. Leadership is demonstrated by empowering and developing people by expressing humility, authenticity, interpersonal acceptance, and stewardship, and by providing direction. Example, Nelson Mandela was a true servant leader. He always put the need for achieving equality in South Africa before his personal gains. He considered himself a humble servant of the people, protested, put his own well-being aside, and served time in prison in order to make a statement on behalf of his people. His selfless efforts for his people make a statement of how one can be a great leader by putting the needs of others before oneself. As I end this discussion, let me leave to you a quote. If you want to govern the people, you must place yourself below them. If you want to lead people, you must learn how to follow them. Quoted from Lao Tzu. Good morning, everyone.